So let's take a look at the actual spinal cord structures. Again, as we mentioned in a previous video, we have white matter, which is primarily myelinated axons, and then gray matter, which doesn't actually have to look gray, which represent unmyelinated structures. Look at the gray matter first. This whole thing kind of almost looks like moose antlers. And true to form, they have structures called horns. This would be your dorsal gray horn, lateral gray horn, and ventral gray horn. Same thing over here, dorsal gray horn, lateral gray horn, ventral gray horn. And in general, notice that the dorsal spinal root feeds directly into the dorsal gray horn. And so here we have actually sensory axons that are feeding into the dorsal gray horn on either side. From here, these axons merge with dendrites and cell bodies, or sometimes just cell bodies, of the lateral gray horn and the ventral gray horn, which will have cell bodies and dendrites of motor axon or motor neurons that will come out here as the axons leave. And so we have sort of a sensory motor connector here with these two. And we have it on both sides. Notice, though, that we have a gray connector called a gray commissure that cuts across and allows both sides of the spinal cord to communicate with each other. For example, if there's a sensory input that's a reflex coming in here through the dorsal spinal root into the dorsal gray horn, we may have connections with motor neurons here that we want to send out so we can respond to the reflex, but we may also have connections over on the opposite side which may require a response too, and so those neurons go through the gray commissure structure to the opposite side of the spinal cord so we can send motor outputs this way through this spinal nerve that may have to respond to the reflex as well. Right in the center here, this little small hole is something that is discussed back in the brain and brainstem structure. This is called the central canal, and strangely enough, it is also filled with cerebrospinal fluid, just like the subarachnoid space is. We also see this up in the brainstem region, and we'll review that in class. But there is the gray matter and the structures here. So dorsal gray horn, lateral gray horn, ventral gray horn, the gray commissure, and then the central canal.